Good morning, Texoma. Thanks for waking up with us this morning. I'm Ashley Fitzwater, and this morning we are taking an inside look into the second annual Read to Learn program that is really, truly transforming youth right here in our community, specifically in the Wichita Falls ISD. Joining me now with much more on this program and its expansion, which is exciting, is January Jones. She is the PIE, or Partners in Education District Coordinator for the school district. So thank you for being here with us.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, and it's exciting to talk about this again. We're coming into the second year, and I understand you have big plans.
Huge plans. Yeah, we're going to double the program. The goal of the program is to have children reading on grade level by the end of third grade. So that way when they walk into fourth grade, they are reading to learn rather than learning to read.
Absolutely, and this is a big problem, correct? I mean, even here in our district.
Yes, I mean, not only in our district, but nationally. So our focus is here, and we want to help these children get onto grade level. The statistics are really piled up against them. If they cannot read by the time they enter into fourth grade, then they are 4 times less likely to graduate with their peers. And then if you add into that equation the economically disadvantaged children, then those children are actually 13 times less likely. So we want to change those results.
Absolutely, and of course through this program that's being done. I know the goal is eventually to make this a kindergarten through third grade program. The focus right now has been on second graders. So can you tell us what is Read to Learn doing for these second graders?
We are essentially partnering up a volunteer with a child. We want to partner up that volunteer with a child for 3 days a week. That's our goal, but about 85 to 90% of our volunteers can only do 1 day a week, and that's completely understandable. We are grateful for that. So what that essentially looks like is that a child could have 3 volunteers. So we might only have 196 kids in the program, but we may have 300 volunteers or 350 volunteers. And that is the reason for that. We want the children 3 times a week reading in the program. It's one-on-one mentoring. That is essentially what we're doing, and it's reading actually on their level. So that's what's making the difference.
So what happens if I'm going to be a volunteer and I'm going to sit down and get to meet the child for the first time? What takes place?
All of our volunteers go through a training before they ever step foot onto campus, so that way they know exactly what it's going to look like when they get there. They will grab a folder, the child will sign in, it'll tell them what level that child is on. We use a program called Reading A to Z, and it will tell them what level they're on. They'll grab that folder, which already has a book in there, and they'll go and take that child to a reading area. Sometimes in the library, it might be in the lunchroom. They will obviously find out where that area is at, and the child starts with that book. And then there's some comprehension questions, and then the last part is the volunteer reading to the child. So that way they can also hear what good reading sounds like as well.
The goal today, of course, is for folks to see what the school district is doing for our kids, but also to have volunteers sign up. So how much of their time are you looking at?
From the time they step foot onto the campus till the time that they are done is 30 minutes. So
that's not a lot of time.
No.
So if you can maybe work it in, give up a lunch hour maybe one day, or part of your lunch hour or morning if that's a possibility.
Absolutely.
Is there a specific time frame that you have to come in, or is it just throughout the school day?
It's extremely flexible. That's what I love about the program, is it's extremely flexible. So we have a lot of volunteers that do go from like that 8 to 8:30. There's the breakfast in the classrooms that's served, and that allows these volunteers to meet with the child at that point before they actually get into the classroom. It's flexible based on the child's schedule and the volunteer's schedule. So we try to pair them up to where it's going to meet both. So there might be a class that a child is in that they really need that curriculum, they need to be into that class. Well, if that doesn't work for that volunteer that we were trying to partner them up with, then we might partner that volunteer up with a different child. So, but it's extremely flexible. I know that, I volunteered on Thursdays at possibly 11 o'clock. Well, sometimes it didn't work for me at 11. I needed to switch it to 2.
Oh.
And so I could do that. I just was able to email them and let them know, hey, I need to make it 2 o'clock this week. So.
Oh, I like that too. So if maybe you had a doctor's appointment or you had something come up and you had to switch it, that's a possibility as well.
Absolutely.
So you're not letting that child down, because I'm sure they look forward to that too. So
yeah.
I want to, of course, get into the overview of the first year. Can you tell us, how did the program do? What was the success rate of these children?
Yes, yeah, we launched it on, I think it was like October 15th last year, and we launched it with 216 volunteers and 181 children. And by the time February came along, we added on an 8th campus. So when we originally launched it with 7 campuses, and then we added on Haynes Elementary, in February, and then we ended the program with 196 kids
Wow.
and 350 volunteers. So we were very, very excited about that. And here in a little bit, Beth, my K2 curriculum specialist, is going to talk to you about some amazing results with these kids. So I can't wait for her to tell you about those. The amount of success with the volunteers coming to the call was just great. And they gave 3,880 hours of their time to read, learn
Wow.
alone.
That's great.
Yes.
It's impressive how much this community always seems to step up and fill
Yeah.
that gap. And you need people to do it again this year because those kids are going to stay in the program, and then you've got a whole nother group coming up. So that's why I understand it's so important, correct?
Yep, they're going to be going into 3rd grade. They'll stay in the program. We'll add in 2nd, so we need twice as many volunteers.
All right, Texoma. So although they had a lot of people step up, like she mentioned, there's a whole other group coming up, and they want to continue to help these kiddos. So make sure you stick around. We're going to tell you much more on who you need to contact, how to get involved, and of course, when to sign up for that training, because October 13th, this will all officially kick off in Wichita Falls. We need to take another quick break, but we have much more to get to, all about Read to Learn in Wichita Falls. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with much more. Welcome back to Inside Texoma. Once again, we're taking an inside look into the Read to Learn program in Wichita Falls ISD. And joining me once again is January Jones, the PIE coordinator for the district, and also Beth Maywald. She is the K through 2nd curriculum specialist, and we appreciate you joining us as well this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And we are, of course, talking about this program and really how successful it's been. And I know January told us a little bit before we went to break, but can you give us an overview and kind of the results of the first year and what we're looking at?
Sure, we are super excited about the results that we saw within the program this year. Ultimately, our goal is to track how our R2L students do on their state assessment, which actually doesn't start till the end of 3rd grade, being the STAR assessment. But for now, we're tracking what's called the Texas Primary Reading Inventory. That is a developmental assessment that's given to all kindergarten through 2nd grade students to determine developmentally where they are in the reading process. So it gives us some really good data, but it is developmental. This year, when this program started, 68% of the Read to Learn students were deemed listeners. Now what that means is those students were not reading on grade level. 68% of the 196 students that we started with. At the end of the year, 8% of the Read to Learn students were still listeners.
Wow.
So we had quite a decrease in listeners. So what that means is that they made 60% growth in being able to read. And then many of those students rolled out of that program reading on grade level.
That is great. Those are huge numbers.
Huge numbers.
We started the year this year with about 196 students. 50 of those students actually entered the program reading at kindergarten level or below.
Wow.
So basically not reading, just learning the beginning stages of reading. We had about 127 reading at 1st grade, so they were still reading a full year below level where they should be at that time. When we ended the year, we have 92 2nd graders reading on level. We had 12 reading at 3rd grade level, and we did not have any still down there on that kindergarten level. So they
Wow.
all made some huge progress. In the program, the curriculum itself, the materials that we use, they use leveled books. They start with a double A and they go, A, B, C and on up. We had some students who jumped up 8 to 10 levels
Wow.
for where they began. So great progress.
Absolutely.
I think that there's 2 things that really make this program. One of those things is getting these students reading on what we call their instructional or their independent reading level. Basically that means they're reading something that they're able to read so that they're not spending their time decoding words. Instead they're able to read, which helps them build fluency and comprehension. And secondly, it is the relationship they've developed with a special person, which means a great deal to many kids. A lot of the curriculum specialists, including myself, mentored and participated in this reading program. I have a specialization in reading, and I was amazed at just what it meant to those children I was working with to have that relationship, to have somebody show up and talk to them and be there for them.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, my child, she asked every time, can you come back tomorrow too?
Oh.
Yeah, so it is. I mean, it touches your heart.
Oh, I love it. So if you have little ones who aren't in school and you're hearing the results, of course, that you're seeing through this program, it just goes back to, I guess, having that one-on-one time even at home, correct? With your children.
One of the best things you can do with your children is read to them. Read to them, read with them. And there's opportunities all over our community for this to happen. Not here to plug it, but we promote with parents at home the Dolly Parton Imagination Library through the United Way. If they don't have access to books, they can certainly apply for that and get access books for their children on a monthly basis, starting at birth to age 5.
Free books that will come right to your mailbox.
Those are
Great
free.
program.
I've heard from our public library, their summer programs. Within the school district, one of the things that we have added is called Raz Kids. It is an online program. Our students can go in and read books on that program with their login at any computer with internet access, on any iPhone, any smartphone. There's apps that they can do that. Happens that that is the curriculum we're using in R2L. So they read the book with their mentor. They can also go online and read that book again. They can take a quiz on that book, and it moves them through the program. It gives them practice, which is what's important for these kids, is practicing.
From your home life, of course, to the kiddos at school, and helping to make this a full circle. Do need to take another quick break, but she also had mentioned Imagination Library, so real quickly I want to remind you that if you'd like to learn more about that, you can always head to our website, newschannel6now.com. But don't forget to volunteer too. We're going to actually hear from a volunteer right after the break. Stick around. Welcome back to Inside Texoma. Once again, we're taking an inside look at the Read to Learn program in the Wichita Falls ISD. January Jones is joining us again, and we also have Nancy Vanucci, and she is a Read to Learn volunteer, and she actually volunteers at 2 different campuses with this program. And so I love this because I'm interested to learn from you your experience. So can you tell us, whenever you first heard about this program, did you immediately just know this is something you wanted to do?
I had been involved in the past with Red Hot Radical Readers, which is what my Kiwanis Club that I'm a member of was involved in that. And so whenever January came out and talked to us about they were going to change it this year to the Reading to Learn, I was right on board. You know, I love going out and helping these kids. I love seeing the excitement in their eyes. I love everything about it. And it didn't take any convincing for me to do it. But like I said, I was involved in the other program, so I just moved it over to this program.
I love it. And I know you've had a great experience and the connections you said that you make with these children.
Oh, yes. I love my children that I had last year. And in fact, that was one of the things I was concerned about, was at the end of the year, if I would still get to be with my same children this year, because they didn't get to the level they needed to be at. And January informed me that I could. So if y'all are watching, I'll be back. And I'll just tell y'all a quick little story that kind of solidified the whole year for me. Was the little girl that I had at Alamo. I had asked her one day, I said, are you all excited about your schools merging with Sam Houston and getting to go to a new school next year? And she looked at me and she said, no. And I said, really? I said, why not? And she goes, I like Alamo. And I said, well, you know, you'll have all your friends at Alamo there with you. And I said, and then look at it this way. You've got all those friends just waiting at Sam Houston for next year. And she said, But Miss Nancy, the real question is, will you be there?
Oh,
That just
Wow.
nearly broke my heart, and I said, yes, I'll be there. And I told January, there's nothing going to stop me from doing it this year. Because
Wow.
I wouldn't disappoint one of them. You know, they look so forward to you coming, and it's benefiting them, and it's doing a lot for me. And I'm sure any other volunteer, it would do a lot for them too. And if I could say anything at all about it, is just give it a try. Get involved, see what it's like, and I promise you, you'll keep coming back.
what does this do for you? Why is it important for you to go meet with these kids and to give up your time to be there helping them learn to read?
To be honest with you, I'm the kind of person that I want to live my life in such a way that I am helping other people. The saddest thing to me would be to know that you could have helped somebody and you didn't. You chose not to. And we all have 30 minutes a day. I mean, I'm pretty busy. You know, I have a full-time job, I have grandkids, I have my church work that I do and that I'm involved in, so I'm a busy person. But it's not anything that I can't work around. And so everybody has 30 minutes a day that they can devote to help another child. Because if you look at it this way, that's our community, that's our future leaders here. So, you know, if you can do one little thing to help push them along and encourage them, and sometimes it's just having that special person, like January said, that's in your life to know that that one person really cares if I succeed or not. Because while you might think all these children in school have that at home, they don't have that at home. A lot of times it's not really even the parents' fault, you know, it's just circumstances. You know, a lot of these kids are Hispanic, and while the parents struggle, you know, trying to speak the English language and learn it themselves, it's hard for them, even though they care and they want to help their children at home at night, it's hard for them to do that. And so that, I mean, I think our district has a lot of Hispanic children that need someone that can help them with reading because maybe their parents aren't able to right now.
And bilingual volunteers is always a very big need for us.
Volunteers, as you mentioned, that'll just be a bigger asset, of course, for these little ones. And it was so well put, you know, how you said someone believing in you, because I think we can all think of someone when we were a child who believed in us, and maybe even as adults, you know, someone who believes you can move on, and you are that person, it sounds like, to a lot of these children.
You hear that all the time in people's lives where, you know, they'll go back as adults and talk about those special people in their life.
Yeah.
And so I just encourage anybody that has any time at all to get involved with the program. If you work for a company and they're willing to work with you to be able to do this, I choose to do it in the mornings before I come to work. I don't want anything during my day to stop me from being able to go, so I try to go first thing in the morning. I have on occasion had things come up where I had to go at lunchtime or something, and you know, that's okay too. But
My last question is, what are your hopes for the future of this program?
oh, I would love to see every child reading on their grade level. I mean, I love to read. I read a book a week. So I would love it if every child could read on their grade level.
Getting kids excited about reading. It sounds like it's all done through these volunteers, right,
Absolutely.
January?
Couldn't do it without you. Like people like her, we couldn't do it for sure.
Well, if she doesn't inspire you to want to volunteer, I just don't know what will.
I
mean,
know.
that's awesome. So 4 times a week, she heads out and, of course, spends time with these kiddos. And Nancy, we appreciate you taking time to share with us today and all that you do in our community. And you're right.
Well, thank
They're
you.
the future, so pouring into them, that's awesome. Appreciate that. Well, stick around, text someone. We need to take another quick break. We'll be right back with much more. Welcome back to Inside Texoma. Once again, we're taking an inside look at the Read to Learn program in Wichita Falls. The second year of this program will be kicking off October 13th, and that's going to be in 8 campuses, 8 elementary campuses out of 17. So that's great. I know you are actually hoping to expand even more in the future. Can we talk a little bit about that and kind of what it's going to take to expand?
More volunteers. I mean, we can expand with more volunteers that we have. I mean, we're essentially doubling the program from last year to this year by adding on 3rd grade at these 8 campuses. So we're excited about that. But yes, our goal is to be K through 3rd at all elementary schools at WFISD. So we can do that as long as the volunteers continue to show up. So
if you're wanting something like this maybe at your child's school or at the school in the neighborhood where you live, then maybe get a group together and then you can contact PIE and let them know, and then maybe they can, of course, get that started. But it's going to take volunteers. So if people would like to sign up and take part, what do they need to do? How do they need to go about making that happen?
Sure, they can contact me at 235-1009, or they can go to wfisd.net and click on Partners in Education and find out how to apply.
Okay, and I understand you have training that's going to be coming up, because you're not just, of course, sending folks in there. You're going to train them and teach them all about this, and that's coming up on a Thursday night pretty soon.
It's going to be on Thursday, October 9th at the Ed Center, located at 1104 Broad Street, and it will be, yes, at noon. And this is for all new community volunteers. So if you've already been in the program, you don't have to go through the training again. But this way you will know what the program is from the moment you step foot onto the campus. So we can answer any questions for you, go over the program and what it looks like from the moment you get there.
I love that. And you said it's just going to take about 40 minutes. So if you have a lunch break, that gives you enough time, of course, to get there and get back to work without taking too much time, and then you're going to feed them as well. So it's a win-win.
Yes. Yeah, we couldn't do anything without our sponsors. So Papa John's always sponsors our community training. So we're very thankful for them. But yes, we have lots of sponsors that help us through this event. So.
And of course, you see those there on your screen right now, and a big thanks to them and all that they're doing. We just appreciate, of course, January, all that you're doing with this program as well. It's exciting to have something like this in our community and really hear how it's changing these little ones' lives. So we look forward to hearing more.
Well, thank you, and thank you so much for your support. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. Well, Texoma, we want to say thanks to you, too. Thanks for joining us this morning. We hope you have a wonderful day. As always, we'll see you back here next Sunday morning for another look inside Texoma.